If you're over 60, I want you to picture a single stubborn cell deep in an organ you rarely think about. It's older now, like the rest of you. It's endured decades of sunlight, sugar spikes, cigarettes in distant rooms, tiny infections you never felt, and the quiet march of time on your circulation. One day it stops following the rules. It demands more fuel than its neighbors, ignores the usual stop signals, and begins multiplying in the shadows. That is how nearly every cancer story begins, not with a movie-style explosion, but with the slow betrayal of a cell that forgets who it is. I'm a physician who has sat with patients on the day they hear the word cancer, and I refuse to sell you false hope or magic bullets. There is no way to guarantee you will never get cancer, but you can tilt the odds, sometimes dramatically, by understanding how cancer takes root and by changing the daily inputs that either feed it or starve it. For years, the conventional model emphasized damaged DNA, mutations that let a cell divide when it shouldn't. That model is real and it explains a lot, but it's only half the picture. Long before many mutations accumulate, cells often show signs of metabolic distress, especially in their mitochondria, the tiny engines that turn food and oxygen into energy. When mitochondria are damaged by aging, toxins, chronic inflammation, high insulin, or hypoxia, cells default to a primitive backup system called fermentation. This is the Warburg effect doctors look for on a PET scan. Cancerous tissue guzzles glucose and lights up because it's burning sugar fast and dirty. Genetics and metabolism are not rivals, they are dance partners. Mutations can sabotage mitochondria. Mitochondrial stress can, in turn, promote more mutations. If you are serious about prevention, you must care for both the code that guides the cell and the engines that power it. The most common correctable pressure I see in older adults is hidden insulin resistance, years of frequent eating and refined carbohydrates that keep insulin high, push fat into the liver, and bathe tissues in a low-grade inflammatory soup. High insulin isn't just a diabetes problem, it's a growth signal. It nudges cells toward division, stiffens arteries, and keeps mitochondria on their back foot. If you do nothing else, break the constant feed cycle. Most seniors do well tightening their eating window to 2 or 3 meals in a 10-12-hour span with nothing but water, plain tea, or black coffee between. That simple change lowers insulin, improves sleep, trims visceral fat, and, over months, nudges your metabolism away from sugar dependence toward fat and ketone flexibility that mitochondria prefer. Extreme multi-day fasts are a different story. They may raise autophagy in research settings, but they can be dangerous for older, lean, or medically fragile people. If you are considering anything beyond modest time-restricted eating, do it only with your own doctor's supervision. Starving yourself is not a cancer plan. If you choose a low-carbohydrate or ketogenic pattern, make it the healthy version, vegetable-rich, fiber-sufficient, and based on real food. Non-starchy vegetables, olives, avocados, eggs, fish, nuts, and modest amounts of berries support insulin sensitivity without the inflammatory baggage of ultra-processed foods. Ketones, the fuels your liver makes when carbohydrates are low, can be kinder to stressed mitochondria. But remember, diet is a tool, not a religion. Plenty of people reduce cancer risk on a Mediterranean-style pattern as well. What matters most is taming insulin, keeping weight in a healthy range, and feeding your cells nutrients that help them repair. One nutrient that matters for immune surveillance is vitamin D. Older skin makes less of it, older kidneys activate less of it, and spending more time indoors doesn't help. Vitamin D helps your immune cells recognize and respond to abnormal cells. Correcting a deficiency is sensible, megadosing is not. Ask your clinician to check your 25OH vitamin D level and aim for a healthy range appropriate for you. For many older adults, that falls roughly in the 30-50 mg/ml neighborhood, though your doctor may individualize. Vitamin D is fat-soluble and can build up. It also interacts with certain medications and calcium metabolism. Strong immunity is not a single pill. It's the quiet daily work of sleep, movement, protein, micronutrients, and a calm nervous system. If you enjoy grilling, protect yourself from the smoke and the blackened crust. The char on meat and dripping fat can generate heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, compounds you don't want marinating your DNA. You don't need to abandon the grill, you need to outsmart it. Marinating meats, cooking at lower temperatures, trimming fat that flares, and loading the plate with cruciferous vegetables all help. Rosemary, thyme, oregano, garlic, onion, and citrus marinades can significantly cut those cooking-related carcinogens. Broccoli sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, and radishes deliver sulforaphane and related compounds that nudge your detox enzymes and support the very pathways your cells use to neutralize damage. Your plate can be armor. Another quiet lever is iron. Cancer cells, like bacteria, love iron. Too much stored iron drives oxidative stress in the liver and other tissues. But here is where nuance matters. Many older adults, especially women, are iron deficient. Don't guess. Ask your clinician to check ferritin and a full iron panel before you ever remove iron from your diet or supplements. If your iron stores are high, avoid iron pills unless prescribed. Don't cook everything on cast iron, and consider donating blood if your doctor says it's safe. If your stores are low, treat the deficiency. Oxygen delivery to your tissues is not optional. Magnesium is another unglamorous essential. Your mitochondria literally cannot make ATP, the universal energy currency, without it. Muscle cramps, poor sleep, constipation, and arrhythmia risk all worsen when magnesium runs low, which is common in seniors and in anyone on diuretics or acid-suppressing drugs. Leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, legumes, and cacao help. A gentle magnesium supplement at bedtime can be reasonable for many adults, but clear any plan with your clinician if you have kidney disease or take interacting medications. Selenium, found in seafood and Brazil nuts, helps build glutathione, the master intracellular antioxidant, and supports immune function. 1 or 2 Brazil nuts supply a day's worth. A handful every day is too much. More is not better with trace minerals. Green tea and pomegranate are modest everyday allies. Green tea's catechins, like EGCG, have been studied for their ability to dial down new blood vessel growth into tumors, angiogenesis, and to reduce oxidative stress. Pomegranate polyphenols can calm inflammation and support endothelial function. Neither is chemotherapy in a mug, but both fit beautifully into a pattern that makes life harder for abnormal cells. Chamomile tea contains apigenin, a plant compound that interacts with enzymes tied to NAD metabolism, the cell's energy processing currency, and may gently nudge mitochondrial resilience while helping sleep. Again, these are supports, not silver bullets. Mushrooms such as shiitake, maitake, and reishi contain beta-glucans, fibers that modulate innate immunity, including natural killer cells that patrol for virus-infected and abnormal cells. Culinary doses are a safe starting point. Add mushrooms to soups and sautés several times per week. Concentrated extracts exist, and a specific compound from Shiitake mycelia called AHCC has early research and viral clearance, but supplements are where drug interactions hide. If you're on blood thinners, immune-modulating drugs, or chemotherapy, do not add extracts without an oncology team's blessing. The same caution applies to black seed oil, Nigella sativa, and methylene blue. Black seed's thymoquinone has intriguing lab data. Methylene blue influences electron flow in mitochondria. Both can interact with medications. Methylene blue in particular can dangerously interact with antidepressants and other serotonergic drugs and is not a do-it-yourself prevention strategy. Curiosity should never outrun safety. Radiation from medically necessary imaging saves lives, but it is not free. Older adults often accumulate dental films, spine x-rays, chest CTs, and more over the years. You can be both cautious and reasonable. Keep a personal list of your prior imaging. Ask whether a test changes management. Sometimes an ultrasound or MRI can answer the question without ionizing radiation. If you need a CT, get it. Prompt diagnosis is priceless, but make sure shielding is used when appropriate and don't repeat studies out of habit. On the flip side, skipping proven cancer screening is a mistake I see too often. Colonoscopy or stool DNA testing at intervals, appropriate for your history. Mammography is recommended. Lung cancer screening if you have a significant smoking history. Skin checks for those with sun damage. These are not optional. They are how we catch trouble early, before it steals your future. Movement remains the most powerful, accessible mitochondrial therapy we have. Long walks, resistance training to preserve muscle, and periodic bursts of faster effort that make you breathe harder all increase insulin sensitivity, support lymphatic flow, improve sleep, and bathe tissues in oxygen. You do not need fancy equipment or punishing routines. You need consistency and progressive challenge. If you're deconditioned, start with 10 minutes after meals. If you're stronger, add light weights or bands. Exercise is anti-inflammatory medicine. Separate from exercise, nature itself seems to soothe the immune system. Time in green spaces, what the Japanese call forest bathing, exposes you to plant-derived molecules called phytoncides and reliably reduces stress hormones while nudging natural killer cells upward. A brisk walk among trees is not a luxury. It is a therapy your nervous and immune systems recognize. Sleep is where your brain and immune system do their deepest housekeeping, and it is where older adults quietly lose ground. Pain, nocturia, alcohol, late meals, and blue light exposure all chip away. Tighten your evening, dim lights, avoid heavy food and alcohol late, warm your hands and feet, cool the bedroom, and keep a consistent wake time. Poor sleep pushes insulin up, blunts immune surveillance, and makes every other habit harder. Breathing matters too. If you snore, gasp, wake unrefreshed, or nap unintentionally, ask to be evaluated for sleep apnea. Untreated apnea drives hypertension, arrhythmias, insulin resistance, and cancer-promoting inflammation. Water should be boring and clean. If your municipality's water report worries you or you live in an older building with pipes you don't trust, a certified filter for drinking water is a wise investment. It won't make you bulletproof, but it lowers background exposure to solvents, metals, and disinfection byproducts your liver would rather not meet. As for electromagnetic fields from Wi-Fi and phones, the best evidence at everyday exposure levels does not show a clear causal link to cancer. If you sleep better with your devices out of the bedroom and your router on a timer, do that. Good sleep is the real gain. But do not let fear of invisible waves distract you from the proven drivers: smoking, alcohol excess, obesity, inactivity, poor diet, uncontrolled blood pressure and glucose, chronic infections, and delayed screening. Cold exposure sits in a nuanced place. Brief, controlled, cool finishes to a shower can feel invigorating and may have hormetic benefits. But sudden extreme cold is a stress test, not a fountain of youth. If you have coronary disease, uncontrolled hypertension, a history of stroke or TIA, severe Raynaud's, or you simply feel wrong with cold, skip it. You can build mitochondrial resilience far more safely with progressive exercise, a small daily calorie deficit if needed, daylight exposure, and regular meals timed to your circadian rhythm. Chasing dramatic biohacks while ignoring the basics is how good intentions go sideways. Food frequency matters as much as food quality. The constant snacking culture kept many of you in a decades-long insulin bath. Shrink the window, stop the grazing, and let your mitochondria cycle between fed and fasted states. In that fasted valley, overnight and between meals, your cells perform maintenance known as autophagy, recycling damaged parts. You don't need heroic deprivation to engage it. You need fewer, better meals, and the patience to stop eating 2 hours before bed. Combine that with fiber from vegetables, legumes if you tolerate them, nuts and seeds, adequate protein to preserve muscle, and fats from fish, olive oil, and avocados. Ditch refined sugars and starches that race through you like sparks on dry grass. Your environment leaves fingerprints on your cells. Don't inhale what you can avoid: cigarette smoke, even other people's, wood smoke from poorly vented stoves, aerosolized solvents, and burned cooking oils in unventilated kitchens. Use your exhaust fan, open a window when you can. If you love cooked meat, let the oven, slow cooker, or gentle pan sear do the work more often than the char. If you drink alcohol, know that a little red wine for the heart is not a cancer prevention plan. Even modest intake raises risk for certain cancers. If you choose to drink, keep it infrequent and light and build alcohol-free evenings into your week. Finally, protect the terrain cancer hates: strong circulation, lean muscle, steady glucose, deep sleep, calm inflammation, and vigilant immunity. Some people explore niacin or NAD precursors for energy metabolism. Others swear by colostrum powders for gut immune support. These are optional edges, not foundations, and every pill can collide with a prescription you already take. Before you add a supplement, bring your medication list to your clinician or pharmacist and ask, will this interact? Does it make sense for me? Prevention is not a shopping cart, it's a blueprint. I won't pretend any of this is glamorous. You will never see a headline that says, elderly neighbor improved vitamin D, walked daily, cooked broccoli, slept 712 hours, and never developed colon cancer. You will, however, hear stories like mine. A retired firefighter who swapped sugar for protein and greens, shortened his eating window, moved his shower earlier, added strength training twice a week, and returned 6 months later with lower blood pressure, steadier energy, and a waistline that let him see his belt again. He didn't buy a promise, he built a margin of safety. That is how real prevention looks. Quiet, cumulative, and stubbornly unexciting. If you've had a cancer before, these habits still matter. They do not replace your oncologist's plan. They strengthen your body to tolerate it and reduce the chance that dormant cells find fertile ground later. If you have never had a cancer, they buy you the best odds modern science can offer without slipping into fantasy. And if you hear anyone tell you that one vitamin, one oil, one herb, one bath, or one extreme fast will make you cancer-proof, smile, step back, and return to the fundamentals that have protected human beings long before wellness marketing existed. You are not fragile. You are adaptive. Your cells learn from the inputs you repeat. Start with the choices that move the biggest levers. Stop smoking forever. Shrink your eating window and cut refined sugars. Prioritize protein, vegetables, and healthy fats. Walk daily and lift something twice a week. Protect sleep like medicine. Correct deficiencies with your clinician's help. Minimize unnecessary radiation while never skipping proven screening. Cook in ways that avoid char. Ventilate your kitchen and your life and spend time under trees. The day will still end the same way, sunset, dishes, lights out, but your biology will end that day with a little more resilience, a little less inflammation, and a terrain where a stray abnormal cell has a much harder time surviving. Disclaimer. This content is educational and not personal medical advice. Cancer risk is influenced by age, family history, environment, and medical conditions. Do not start extreme fasting, cold exposure, or supplements without discussing your medications and health status with your own clinician, especially if you have diabetes, heart, kidney, or liver disease, are on blood thinners or antidepressants, or have a history of cancer. Keep up with recommended cancer screenings. If you notice warning signs, unexplained weight loss, bleeding, new lumps, persistent cough, or hoarseness, seek medical care promptly.